Hello everybody, welcome back. I hope I'm audible right now, and let's just simply start working on this project for 1 more hour, and this way we are just simply gonna continue. So the last time we left here, and this time we'll just simply start working on this particular project from here on. So when it comes to the board route, so we can create the pages, and we can just simply get all the pages for that particular board. So this is the first route that we have here. I'm just simply gonna be just a sec, not this part, rather this one. So when it comes to the board router, so earlier we had the board ID, image ID. Now we don't really need to have it, and we have the create board. When it comes to the board, that is fine, and routes v1 board.routes.ts, this is the same, but there are more routes in here. We can create and update this page router. So this is the page router that we actually have in here, and then just after that update image assets. That's the backend part for sure. Delete image assets we have here, and these are the routes. Duplicate, move shapes, better duplication recommended. Then we have this board wrapper. Loading board. Okay, that is fine. Let's continue from the top. That would be better. So the very first thing is that do manage this particular part. So first one is get all the boards, and inside this we have it. So first of all, get boards, that is fine. Get boards by the ID, that is also fine. Then we have one for create the board. Then just simply editing the board related stuff, that is also fine. Delete the board, that is fine as well. Get all pages of the board, so board ID and pages, this way we are gonna be getting all the pages, and that's fine as of right now. Then create page, so we can definitely create the page like this, and create image assets, so this section should not be here now anymore. Board ID and image assets, so it should be page ID and image assets, so I can get rid of this completely. That's the first thing. And then we have reorder the pages. So board ID reordering is something that can be taken care of later, but as of right now, get all the pages. So board ID and the pages, create new page, so we can have these two more routes in here. We already have one for create page, so board ID and pages, so this is just simply gonna be creating the pages, so we will definitely have for getting the page as well, and that is this one, get pages. So create page is fine. Get pages means we are gonna be getting all the pages, and this time we are gonna be creating the pages. And further down the line, when it comes to knowing more about page, so we can directly get the shapes and all using the page ID. That would be better. That is fine. Okay with this. Going ahead, we have the page routes over here, and let me just simply have everything in there. So when it comes to the page routes, so overall we have this in here. So create shapes, that is actually gonna be from controllers, page controllers, because ultimately we are creating the, well, that should not be from there. So if I actually go to this particular part, let me create the version 2 as well, just for the example purpose, that is it. and from here we have page. This create shape should not be here, so it should be part of shapes only. So we have update shapes, we have delete shapes. At a time we are gonna be just simply updating more than one or creating more than one. So we are gonna be having create shapes over here. So when creating, we can create either one or more than one. Get shapes, update shapes, delete shapes. So this is not needed in here. I can completely get rid of this. And when it comes to page, so we have the delete page, that is fine. Update page, board ID is definitely not in there, so we will have to fix this. Get page, and get pages, create page. So we will see exactly what needs to be changed, but over here first of all we need to have create shapes. That is done. Coming back to this thing, let's fix this part in here. So board ID, so it is just simply saying that board ID does not exist in the image asset where input is this. So that is right. So get page, when it comes to getting the page, so now on the logic actually depends on the page controller. That is fine. Page ID, we should have two in here. First of all we have the board control, get board here, right? So get boards, when it comes to getting the boards, so we are just simply including the members in here, and that is fine. And when it comes to getting a single board, so we have get board in here. We are including the image assets. This particular section needs to be removed. We just need the pages, and we do not really need this particular part in here, hence we can completely get rid of this. So when it comes to getting a board info, I'm just simply getting all the pages. That's the only thing that I'm gonna do in here. And board ID page and this. So now when I'm actually getting a particular page, at that time I have the page ID. Using the page ID, I'm gonna be finding all the image assets. So this is actually gonna be page ID in here, and I'm rather gonna be using page ID. We'll have to give it proper type, so page ID as string. That is much better right now. After that, object.form entries. From this entry I'm just simply creating a map. So from entries it actually does what? Returns an object created by key value. So ultimately it creates an object. This is gonna be the key, this is gonna be the value, and returns from here. Alrighty, so as of right now we do not have any problem with this as such. Now let's focus on these two things as well. Duplicate shapes and move shapes to another board. So the logic must already be there if I'm not wrong. So this is done. And then we have create image assets. Create image assets. So the create routes for image assets, page router.ts. Let me see, create page assets, page control. And when it comes to creating a page, and that is also fine. Delete image assets. So let me go to the image section, and so ultimately we have the create image asset. So when we are creating the image asset, at that time we are actually gonna be getting the page ID now, and this particular section needs to be replaced with page ID. So image assets, they, whenever we are just simply creating them, So we are even gonna be creating many image assets at a time, checking whether that's an array or not. So wait prisma image asset create many and return. So data is gonna be image assets, that's gonna be an array. So image assets dot map, we are just simply returning this object from here. So it has the image info and the page ID, and this image section should have only this much. So image asset should just have the page ID right now. So this is better. So creating is done. Now create image assets and create image asset. We will not just create one image asset. Yeah, that is right. Get image assets. So that's actually gonna be the page ID, and there should be page ID in here. And we can even get the page ID from the request params. That is also right. Get image assets, so we can definitely get the page ID in here. And that is fine. Update image, so we are gonna be updating a particular image using the image ID. From the params we are getting request.params or the request.body. So when it comes to updating the image assets, so the ID, image ID and the data and all, that needs to be passed from the request.body, and from the request.params we can actually get the, it's not like you can update just any image. So request.params, we can actually get the page ID from here. Later we are gonna be improving the logic as well, so it's not like that. Where this page ID is gonna be as string. So where this condition is to update this particular logic, I mean data. When it comes to deleting the image assets, so we are just simply passing the image ID. Once the image ID is passed, we are deleting it like this. So why to delete one image asset? Why not all? So even this can be better later, like when it comes to deleting, so even we have update image assets. It's okay, later in the future we might be modifying it, but as for right now this is completely fine. And or we better do it right here. So create image assets, that is fine. Get image assets, that is also fine. We only have to change this particular logic. Then when we are actually updating the image asset, so instead of just sending this much data, we are actually gonna be sending all the images here. Updating will hardly happen, especially when it comes to updating a particular image. That is right. And even deleting an image asset, that's gonna be never the case. And when we delete the page, then this image asset will be deleted and it will happen automatically. So we don't really need to worry about this part. So that is fine, good to go as of right now. No errors here as such, so that is also good. Now let's go to the front end side again one more time. So on the front end side we have the image asset API. We even need to have something called page asset. So the API for the page, we don't really have it here, but we need to have it. Okay, here, no, this one. This is related to the page itself. So whatever the page is actually handling. That is fine. Where was this error? Update image asset. Have I update image asset? fixed this or not. So image asset controller, update image assets, we are getting it from the request.body. That was the issue. So the image ID that I was actually getting, update image assets, data request.body. Already that's fine. If you want to update multiple, if you want to update and delete multiple image assets at once, your controller should accept an array of IDs. So update image assets, we already have the logic in here. So ultimately we are gonna be getting up the updates in here. Then await Prisma transaction. Transaction is gonna start, and then we are gonna be mapping through them. And Prisma.imageAsset.update, where ID is this, data is this. Already we have the logic, so that is fine as well. We can have it for multiple shapes, though I don't think this will ever happen, that even we actually need to update the image, but let's do it. Update image assets we have here, so we will have the delete many as well. So we are gonna be getting all the IDs, and then we are gonna be deleting all the image as well. Alrighty, so it's like getting all the IDs, then looping, just passing all the IDs to just simply get them deleted. And again, this logic I got, this is just from the history of the ChatGPT. So I generated it earlier, and then I lost the code, so I'm having to get everything combined again. So get all the images, so these are gonna be the routes for that. Delete shapes and all, that is fine. So image assets, this is the image router, and then those images that mainly belong to the page. So they need to be actually part of this now. And get image assets, create, update and delete if needed. And the much better version was already here, and if I'm not wrong, yeah, this is the section in here. So this is already quite in the formatted manner, hence I'm gonna have it here. And this is fine. So we have the page route for the pages, for the shapes, for the image assets as well. And in the future I'm gonna be having these, so when we are actually duplicating a particular shape, I must have the logic for that here as well. So let me see if I have the logic. Update is already done, update assets, this is already done. Yeah, duplicate the page and then the logic for them. So duplicate page should be part of duplicate only, so we have the duplicate page. So the logic is already here. So when it comes to duplicating it, so page, we have update and all, create. We will have to fix many things in here. So what are we doing here? We will get the page ID, await Prisma, find unique, that is fine, where ID is gonna be the page ID. Where ID is gonna be the page ID, that is fine. It is just simply telling me that it should be string, and it should include all its shapes, that is also fine. If not, page return. If the page is already there, then it's gonna be created, and when this is actually being created, it should ideally be using create many in here, that is not being used here. So I must have asked it to use create many. So let me just go further down the line, and hopefully I will get that updated version of this. And it is just simply using the transactions in here. I must have asked it to use create many. I think the upper version is already using create many, or not, create many and return. So we had the transaction and then create many and return is actually being used. That is fine. This particular part. Alrighty, so let's go through this part in here. First of all, this needs to be removed. Duplicate this as string. That is fine. Includes all the shapes. So ultimately what happens that we get all the pages and then a transaction starts from here. So await Prisma transaction. It will make sure that everything down the line gets done in one go. So from that particular page, so Prisma transaction, we already have the page. This is the page that needs to be duplicated. So we got the ID of the page, created at, updated as shapes, and all the info. ID needs to be new one, created at, updated at, they will already be saved. Shapes, I need to save them separately, as simple as that. So first of all, we are creating the page over here. Once the page actually got created, then we are creating the shapes, and that shape will have the page ID. That's gonna be the new dot page ID. That is fine. And then we have this error in here. So ID is declared here. So the shapes should even have the ID. So when we are creating many and return, so we are supposed to be passing the ID here too. So whenever we are duplicating a page, so we are gonna be prefetching them. So I'm gonna be having some kind of ID in here. So to have the ID, we will have to use UUID v4. So import v4 as UUID v4 from UUID. So for the ID, at least I'm gonna be using this UUID, because when it comes to a shape, especially when you are creating a shape, so you have to pass the ID from your own side. We have more errors here, and they are the types of appearance. Okay, so the appearance type is not right. JSON null class. So the type can be JSON null class, or the type can be input JSON value. So the problem is that it is gonna have appearance, and that appearance is gonna be shape appearance as Prisma dot input JSON value. This is the first thing. Second, we'll have the same error for the data as well. So the data incompatible. So data will be shape dot data as Prisma. Again, why do I know this? Because I resolved it earlier. So when I worked on this project for the first time, I faced the same issue. So I know that this way it can be resolved. So input JSON value. So this way we just simply assigning it the type, because by default it just gets the type it actually gets, that is not the right one. It just simply gets the JSON. By default, what kind of type it gets? If I just simply remove this, so the appearance by default it just simply gets the JSON value that is not assignable to these, and hence we have to specifically override the types over here. So this is how we are duplicating everything, and once done, we are returning we are returning the new page as well as the shapes from here, and that's the response, duplicated page. So that duplicate page is returned from here. The page actually automatically contains the value of the shapes as well. Then we have the move page as a string. So we are gonna be passing the board ID. When we are passing the board ID in here, so what are we doing in here? We are finding the page and we are changing the board ID. So the page ID is gonna be the same, just board ID is gonna change, and once the board ID actually changes, that particular page will be part of another board. Not bad. So this part is sort of done. Let me just uncomment this they are actually gonna be part of the pages in it. Alright. And again, this thing we need to fix. So when it comes to fixing this, create single image assets. So I'm gonna be getting rid of this. We are gonna be creating many images at a time, even if when we are passing just one, that is fine. Create image assets. So this is how just simply gonna go on. Okay, this seems to be done. This seems to be done as well. And coming back to this, over here we actually probably need to change many things, or probably we do not. We need to check the kind of data that is being sent from the backend side. Meanwhile, I hopefully the right kind of data is being sent from the backend. Otherwise, we'll definitely find the issue. Like we'll get the bug, we'll resolve that then and there. And this is done already. Create many. This particular section we've already gone through. Then a clean approach, use client. Then we start working on board wrapper. So a board wrapper that just simply wraps it. Even alternative way. Give me code for board. So it just simply changes it like this. The bigger problem that we are gonna be facing here, that is inside web page. We are not really doing it right now, but later in the future, if I'm actually using use the load board and all, then that's gonna be problematic. And hopefully that is something being used in here. Use initialize. So ultimately board is definitely we are loading the stuff, so this issue will be facing in future, not right now. So that is fine. Give me code for the board. This error. Here are two API functions matching your existing style, duplicate, response, move page. This is the API, right? API, page API. So we have this and this. We do not really have the page. I'm gonna render the list of this API that actually I have in here. Do I have anything related to the page? So image as a shape, upload we have. This is the page API. We have get pages, we have delete, create, update, delete. We'll have few more here. They are mainly for the duplicate and the move shape. As for the types, let's just simply have them at the top. They are not structured. We'll be working on them in the future. But when it comes to duplicating the shape, so we are passing the request. The request goes to this particular route, duplicate, and it returns the response. We ultimately get the page. It just simply duplicates that. That is fine. Move the page. It simply moves the page to this particular board ID. That is also fine. Yeah, no problem as such with this. So we have the page ID, and if I'm gonna render the list of all the boards in the editor to move the page to a particular board, okay, then I need to fetch all the boards inside the editor to, like, whenever we get we fetch all the boards. That's reasonable approach. So that simply means we'll have to load in the. That is fine. So now onwards, we'll have to have logic for 3. We are gonna be loading a single page, we are gonna be loading all the pages, and we will be loading all the boards. So use load boards. This just simply get all the boards. This is the first hook. Load board. It actually returns it. Initialization is actually being used in here. The last time the error that I was facing, that was this loading value. So load board is fine, we were returning load from here, but when we just simply called inside this, it was not working as expected. We have used load board here. Use load boards. Should I just simply have the logic like earlier? But I will face this issue for sure. Let's have the logic just like earlier. I should not be like I should be able to resolve this if I'm not wrong, but let's see, we'll see. So especially inside the editor, we are gonna be having hooks. Features, editor, we have its own hook, so we have used load board in the page. I should even have used now there's a thing that is inside the editor, we are gonna be loading the boards, right? That is right, we need to load all the boards. So we need to load the boards inside the dashboard as well, and we already have the hook for it. Use dashboard, we just simply get all the boards in this. That is fine. Let's just simply have this logic in here. So use load boards.ts. We'll be loading a board as well as all the boards. The logic is sort of like this right now, but this becomes problematic later, and we will have to resolve that bug. That is something I have to definitely face. That is inevitable, so we will have to go through that. And till then, we have use initialization, the logic for the load board and all. Initialization editor. Where should I have this logic? Let's simply have it right here, because this is gonna be the part of the board only. So use initialization editor.ts. Yeah, I'm just simply having it here. Now the thing is that we don't really have these. So the first one is gonna be the use load page, where we are gonna be loading everything related to the page. So this is what the logic looks like. We have the errors, we'll be fixing them, and the same we'll have for load page image manager. Load page we have here. Again we have load page in here. That is fine. Let's override this logic. How about load board? Because I need to just get the logic for that as well. Just sort of the similar logic, and then we can call it load page. Initializer we have here. Load boards we have in here. Again load boards. Okay, in this case probably I need to get solid connection. That is something we'll be working on later. So let's just simply get rid of this as well. I'm gonna be modifying the logic like load. Modify this logic like load page. Sorry. Which logic has it modified load box? So this particular logic has been modified, and let's just simply replace. And let's see what else can be done. First of all, let's get the things right. For some reason we are facing the issues in here. First of all, use clear history. Use clear history. It just simply clears the history. So whenever we are loading the page, history needs to be clear. Whenever we load that, so the history needs to be clear. That is fine. We don't really have this state in here, so we have push history undo history. This clear history set state. We need to clear it, right? So we have undo stack, we have reduce stack. This is how it should be, I think so. But then we have issues. The issues that the type. Clear history, that's gonna be a function that is gonna return nothing at the end of the day. Okay. Even this isn't problematic right now, so that is also fine. We just need to have a proper selector for that. Clear history. Use editor store. Done. Now this clear history needs to be imported in here. This should be use clear history. Alrighty, so we have it in here, so I will be able to import it as well. So at least this part is done right now. Get page. So using the page ID, of course we can get the page, but do we have it in here? This get page. This get page and the get pages. Get page response that has the page and the image assets. Not bad. Let me change the names here. Get page API. Get pages Again, because of this, we'll be facing issues many at many places, but okay, that is fine. It is specifically signifies or refers that they are the APIs. That is fine. Now get page API. That is done. We have set pages, set images. They are the images. Ultimately, they are the image assets rather than actually being the images. Because at the end of the day, image assets are gonna be stored in the image map. So it contains the value of the image map. That is fine as of right now, but later we might give it a better name. So we are just simply setting the images with the image assets. The value is gonna be just simply set there. That is fine. Get pages. Now what does this do? Quests. हाँ इतना भी complicated नहीं करना था. Let's keep it simple. Keeping it simple in the sense, these are the requests that we are actually making. Promise.this. It's gonna be returning the response as well. Get pages API. First of all, let's keep it like this, and then boards if the length is greater than 0. Promise to result to null, otherwise get boards. If we don't have the boards, then get the boards. If we already have the boards, do not promise dot result to null. That's not bad. Get boards. It just asks for nothing. Okay, this is fine. Not really a bad thing at all. I could have kept it directly in there. And yeah, that's fine. Promise dot resolve to null if the board already exists. That makes sense. And then once that is actually done, then set pages. So we have the pages response, we have the board response. So we are just simply setting the pages in here. If we have the board response, we are just simply setting the boards as well. We are just simply getting the job done like this. That is fine. Now let's fix this. So boards that is returning, but they are not returning the load. Load board. So the board is actually being loaded here. Let's comment this for now. And load is actually gonna be load board. I think this is even better way to just simply get it done. But let me see what actually happens. The last time I tried implementing this way, but it hardly worked. So this time I'm not sure. Anyway, this particular thing is done, and Well, we directly have a use effect in here. That's problematic. Let me see what it has done. So yeah, it is returning the load right now, and it is even running this particular loop that I'm gonna be commenting for now, and we have this load. This part is done. Now the thing is that we need to use all these things at the top level. Top level in the sense whenever we reload the page, I mean before on the board level actually. So I actually need to load the use initialization editor. From here I'm actually gonna get either loading and reload. I'm not sure reload is even needed, but we'll see. So we need this, but ultimately we have this use initialize editor. This editor is mainly responsible for loading the board, and this. When it comes to just loading a board, so board ID I can directly get it, or it's better to pass the board ID so that we know which board is actually gonna be loaded. That's gonna be a better approach. So const huge params what is the problem? This should be actually an object. Oh yeah, so we are loading the board as well as the pages. We are just simply, as for the page, this should be loaded when actually canvas runs, right? Yes, because this is loading the page, so it gets okay, fine. So I'm gonna be getting rid of this part over here. I have to load this, but not at this level, because we have to show the reloading page section in there. So this is fine, we can even get rid of this now. So load page needs to happen separately. And again, having done these many things, I know I will face the issue and we'll have to resolve that. So this is done, and use load board is also fine. It doesn't need image manager right now, loading is okay. Now inside this canvas, once this canvas loads, I want to load pages here. So load board is get rid of that. Use load page should ideally be done in here, and good that it is getting done. And sort of like this. Now let's get the error if there's any, otherwise loading. Okay, so we have to again have some effects in here. or depending on whether it's loading or not. But before even that, once everything is done, one issue that we are gonna face here, that is we are using invalidate at the end of the day. So whenever we are loading what aren't we using that? Just a sec. Load board. Oh, that's good. It turns out that we are not using that. We were using that inside the page section. So now that is fine. Interesting. So use initializer, we are loading this. The job is getting done. We have the render provider. Inside the render provider only I can use the invalidate. So ultimately I can use renderer. So that is also fine. Seems to be done. We don't even need any wrapper. And it's time to just simply fix the bugs. We have 8 more minutes to work on this particular project. After that, of course, I'll have to work on some another one. So let's at least resolve all the bugs that are there and make sure everything is up and running, because we have quite a lot of things to handle, but let's just simply handle them one by one. And mainly tomorrow we will be working on cut, copy, paste. Select all is already done. So yeah, there's sort of a lot to do. It is still gonna just simply load. It's gonna take some time, and hopefully we have already replaced board ID with page ID and for image assets. So yeah, we have created a migration for that. We just need to wait for it to be compiled. It hasn't been compiled yet. Getting compiled. Again, wait. What else? Overall, I don't think we are gonna be facing the issues, but we never know what we missed, right? That makes sense. Even we have to change the place of this page API that is somewhere nearby. So editor, yeah. So we have to change the place of this, because this page mainly belongs to what? It mainly belongs to right now to the editor, though we have the stored in here. So this is store as well as the selectors and the API, they need to be moved inside the editor. Right now it's actually outside the, that's not outside, that is, yeah, that's outside the editor. So that needs to be inside. But bro, okay, that is fine. Let me go to the dashboard. We are not getting any board in here. Crazy. Great. So why are we not getting list of any board? We do not have any board. Let me create one. Are we going to be redirected or not? We should have some kind of loader here, like, okay, it's this thing. The board isn't even getting created, forget about it and everything else. Oh, congrats, the request doesn't really go in there. So let's go to the dashboard now. So mainly this particular section, come on. Dashboard page. So right now we go to the templates, template card, what it is this one here, board list. Yeah, I think that's the template. Inside that we have the template header. That is fine. We start with a template. Let's create a blank board, that is right. So on click that just simply appears, that is fine. Create board dialog, that is this. So over here dialog input, alrighty. Inside this particular dialog input, what we are doing, handle submit, we are redirecting it to this particular page. So what is the problem? Create board, the request goes to this. Okay, we get the board with its pages because the new page is created. That should ideally be fine. So the user isn't authenticated. Null. Why isn't this user? What is this auth? Use auth. Aren't we authenticated? Yeah. We actually have to create an account. Come on. I just forgot that I cleared my whole database, and we don't have a what authentication applied on the pages, and we are still able to see everything. That is something we have to fix. Okay, now I'm gonna be authenticated. Again, you cannot really tell whether you are authenticated or not until unless you make some calls and all. But here we are. Create page, and this create page doesn't exist. So in left sidebar .tsx, left sidebar. Because that is create page API right now, as simple as that. So features, editor, components, left sidebar, and create page APIs, update page API, and we are inside the page right now. Now it's time to do what? It's time to create one more page, new one. Great. Now when we switch the pages, so ultimately the ID changes, and as per that we have to make the changes and all, because if I reload the page for this one, nothing's gonna be in there. But for that, what, the shape isn't even being saved. That is insane. So if I'm drawing something and if I reload the page, that is in reality gone. So there are quite a lot of bugs here. So first of all, let's see that when we actually create a shape, so ideally a request should be going, so that it gets created. Okay, once it actually gets created, we never load the page. Shapes are being created, so we actually need to load the page. That is fine. So let's go to the canvas T6. We in fact we don't need to return load from here. In this case, we need to load it right here. And that is it. That should ideally be fine. Yeah, we have all the shapes, the ones that got created. Oh shit. Okay, so this got created. What? Isn't this working the right way? Working. So okay, and if I go to this one, yeah, it seems to be working fine. And now the next thing is that we actually have to render. Let me get the image if it's possible. We have the image in here. Then we have the issue. What is the issue? That is image asset API.ts. Inside that you are doing something that is failing, because if I reload the page, I just see I don't see the image. Okay, fine. Let me get the image one more time so that I can actually get the reason behind the bug. Yeah, here we are. Access request failed. Bhai, kyun bhai? Image await. So the backend is rejecting the request. Why is that so? Because on the backend side, board ID available option or board ID argument. So we don't have the board ID of what. So when it comes to creating an image, we do not need the board ID now anymore. But we have it in. Okay, that is fine. Let me go to the backend now. Yeah. HTTP backend source controllers version 1 and image. We are trying to create image asset. We are trying to create the image assets. Over here we have the page ID. तो दिक्कत के है what's the bug? Prisma image asset create many. Come on. Prisma image asset dot create many and return. That is fine. So the data actually has the board ID that it should ideally not be having. So available options are marked with this. So the board ID is actually not something that should be passed. That is fine. So when it comes to creating that, go to the front end side again, and when it comes to creating the what, I think I'm on the right side, right place. Well, not really. This doesn't seem to be right place. So let's go to the API and image assets, right? So networking API image asset, and when it comes to creating that, I'm in fact passing the image asset. Image asset contains the board ID. Crazy. This actually needs to contain the page ID. Now the bigger problem is that how will you store the page ID? I expect to be getting the errors, but now as soon as I upload the image, so instead of using the board ID in there, I should be using the page ID. Good stuff. So when do we upload the image and where do we upload the image? So we upload the image inside this toolbar, from the toolbar. So toolbar, we have toolbar tsx, we have toolbar items, we have toolbar button, and so on and so forth. It just simply keeps going on. But toolbar button is here, we have the button in here, but we do not have the logic in here. So we have selected a tool. So the tool actions, let's go in here. So tool actions is here. Okay, bhai, how is this? What is the flow in here? Selected a tool, set selected tool, set selected shape ID is this. Okay, set selected tool is this navy tool, invalidate, that is fine. Image, use image upload. We have to see that handle image input change. Where am I using this? The code is huge. So this input gets triggered image input ref. So I'm just simply clicking this. Okay, fine. So where am I using this? It is getting clicked whenever the selected tool. Okay, that is fine. So this such a crazy flow that whenever the selected tool actually changes, at that time I'm just simply checking. But the good thing is that everything is inside one file, so it makes sense. Okay, but this is the part, and over here control bro, image manager reload, that is everything is fine. It's just that we have to create the image, and once we are actually creating the image, so we are adding the page ID in here. The particular shape, a particular shape has a page ID. Not bad, but where are we setting the board ID? We don't, it doesn't really have any board ID as such. That is fine, or a good thing. Page ID is being set in here. We are passing the page ID as well from here. So image asset, where is the type? Oh, come on, not this one. it's hard to find the right type when it's needed. That simply means we have to keep the types at the right places so that we can easily find them. All the types related to the image should be here, but they are not here. Anyway, the types image.ts image asset. Earlier this image asset actually had the board ID, right? Now I replace that board ID with the page ID, right? So any image asset that we actually have, yeah, that should definitely have the. So when are we setting the image manager preload image? Shapes are getting created in here. Even when it comes to the shape, even a base shape has the page ID. That's the one. So we don't really need to worry about it. Yeah, definitely a shape is gonna belong to a page. That is fine. But we are talking about image assets over here. This is the part, create image upload dot then. That simply means it's being saved in DB, and that simply means in the data. So the image assets that we are actually passing in here, that contains the board ID. The question is that why this contains the board ID. This comes from the upload. This is the upload in here, load image. So when we are passing the board ID in here, load image. Whenever we are loading the image, we are passing the board ID. We in fact need to pass the page ID if we have. Coming back to this needs to be page ID, and once we have this, it actually needs to be page ID right now, and the remaining things are fine. And hopefully when it comes to creating the image asset, we have to pass the ID like manually. That is good. So now we should not be getting that error anymore. Of course this needs to be deleted. And if we try to upload an image, we still get the issue. Failed with 500. This time the error is different. Foreign key constraint validation. Foreign key constraint validation. So the key that is being saved in here, that is not the page ID. Think about it. What are you doing? Let me get rid of everything. Image controller. Create many and return. Create image assets. We have the page ID and we have this. What am I missing? It actually comes from the request.params. Page ID. Create image assets. Page controller. Router ultimately. Create image assets. Page ID is being passed from here. So we are passing this ID in here. This is the page ID, right? So end with, no, that is the board ID being passed. So where do we have the issue in here? When we are sending the request, so we are passing the board ID. Come on, board ID. So whenever we are sending the request from the front end side, request being sent from the front end side inside image asset API. So though we have changed it to page ID, but whenever we are creating the shape image asset, that is fine. Upload create image asset, we are passing the board ID. Crazy page ID. And yeah, that's fine. We have to check it for all actually, not just for one. We have create image assets, we have update image assets. That's not quite being used, that is fine. We have delete image assets, so that's not still being used. We have get image assets, so yeah, we are not really using them. Now this should ideally be fine. Reload the, delete this ultimately. We got it here, no errors as such. If I reload the page, wait for a while, we still have the image in here. We can just simply move it here in the as per our need, and the overall structure should be the same. Yeah, we can move to another page and there are nothing. Alrighty, that was it. At least we've gone through quite a lot of things, and we have completed our goal of working on this particular project for 2 hours. Now I'm gonna take a break for a while. After that, I'll work on Google Meet project. That is something we have to work on that just for 1 hour. It's not like we have to work on that for a long time. So I'm gonna be back and we'll work on that.